Welcome back. If you've bought your motorcycle based off my last video, congratulations. Now let's talk about maintenance. To start, when you buy a motorcycle, you should expect to maintain these things. There are things that are above and beyond this as well that break and stuff, but this is pretty much the generalized list of maintenance. You'll have your oil and oil filter to change every 2,000 to 3,000 miles and or every season. I change mine on a seasonally basis because I live in the Midwest and I typically do not ride more than 3,000 miles in a year in a season, but that could change in the near future. But yes, you should do it every 2 to 3,000 miles. And it's very easy. You take the drain plug out, you take the oil filter off, drain the oil, put the drain plug back in with a fresh crush washer, and then you put the oil filter on with a little bit of oil around the rim. Pervert. And then you fill it with oil, the appropriate amount of quarts that is stated in your owner or maintenance manual. It will also tell you the type of oil to use and the type of oil filter to use. You can also Google it. So, air filter is a little more complicated. It's underneath the gas tank. You just got to check it every once in a while. And air filters are in different spots on different bikes, but most commonly under the gas tank. And just check it. If you're riding in dirty conditions, it'll probably need to replace more than usual. But yeah, when it gets dirty, replace it. Cleaning the chain. If you see buildup, clean it. If you see it start to build up, just clean it. People like to say that there's a certain mileage or whatever, or to do it every single ride, whatever. If it starts to get dirty, clean it. Just take some brake clean, spray it down, toothbrush, okay, and then a rag, wipe it down, and then you take your chain lube and you spray it lightly. You don't need a lot of lube for the chain. It goes a long way. Spreads with the sprocket and heat and everything like that. Don't need a lot. So, then you're going to want to check the chain tension because you don't want your chain to break. So, usually on the swing arm or in your owner's or maintenance manual, it will tell you the appropriate amount of tension that your chain should have. And then there's two little screws that hold your tire and your wheel back. You adjust those screws to take the tension in and out. Then you have fork and shock maintenance. If it starts to leak, you should rebuild or replace. If it starts to seize up, you should rebuild or replace. Keeping them clean and using a fork sealant cleaner thing, compound on them will make them last a lot longer. But they will still tend to go bad the more you ride them in dirty conditions and wet conditions. It's not something that you're going to have to commonly maintenance. Just generally keeping your bike clean will make them last a lot longer. If you buy a new bike and you're kind of going through a bike every couple of years, you're never going to have to do anything with forks. But if you buy a used bike that has 20, 30,000 miles on it and the forks have never been replaced, or 50,000 miles on it, you're more likely to have an issue with that. So something to keep in mind. And then you have your coolant maintenance. If you buy a used bike, you should just drain it and put new coolant in it. If you buy a brand new bike, you're probably never going to have to do anything with the coolant other than top it off from time to time. Just keep an eye on the levels. Then you have brakes and brake fluid. Brake fluid is kind of similar to coolant. Just keep an eye on the levels. Every 2 to 3 years, you're going to need to replace it, though. That is the difference. Brake pads, they typically last 10, 15, 20,000 miles, but it varies on your riding style. You should regularly check the wear and tear on your brake pads, as it is super easy to just look at them while you're cleaning your bike and replace them when they start to wear down. Don't wait until 10, 15, 20,000 miles because Motor Toxic said to. That's not a good idea. Nope, that's not what you should do. You should visually inspect them and replace them when you need to. That's what you should do. Tire maintenance. Your tires will typically last anywhere between 3,000 to 10,000 miles ish, somewhere in there, depending on what tire you buy and the compound and everything like that. There's a bunch of different tires out there. There's tires that are made for specifically going around the track that have an equal compound throughout the entire tire. And then there are touring tires that are more built up in the center. They have a different, they're made of different materials in the center of the tire than they are on the outside of the tires. So they can try to wear them equally because you are touring, so you're going to more ride in the center of the tire. That being said, something that I came across last year was, should you plug your tire? The answer, you should only plug your tire to get to where you're going, and that's it. Once you get to where you're going, get home or whatever it might be, you take your tire off, you take it to a tire store, and you'll get your tire replaced. Or buy a tire, take your tire off, take it to a store, get it replaced. But if you are lucky enough to have the equipment in-house to do your own tires, you can do your own tire. But you shouldn't ride on a plug. That's what you shouldn't do. That's all the maintenance stuff you should know when you buy your first motorcycle, or any motorcycle, because they all need to be done on a semi-regular basis. Oh, and if you have a carburetor, you should clean those. If you buy a used bike with a lot of miles on it, odds are you're going to have to rebuild your carburetor or take it apart and clean it really, really good. But that's pretty much it. You probably don't have a carburetor on your motorcycle, but they used to come with them, so I have to talk about it. But that's it. That's all you should know. That's all you need to know. Pair that with my first video, you're on your way. Next video, talking about riding gear and what you should look at for brands and whatnot. So stay tuned for more. And if you have any suggestions for maintenance or questions, hit the comments. Don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification so you can know when my ugly mug comes back to talk to you. So see you in the next video.